Hello again. For those that don't know, just recently the LCS has had a staged player walkout of the Player Association, and essentially that means the league has been postponed for 2 weeks. And I just want to talk about some people's reactions to it. So Tyler1 basically just ranted about it being a bad product, which is true, but I'll talk about why this is a bit of a shit reaction later. And LS came out with this is a rough paraphrasing of the quote, of it's beginning to feel like people are just beginning to hate on Riot. LS seems to think that this fight is all about the NACL, which is not really. It's about guaranteeing jobs, guaranteeing opportunities for players. LS talked about how investors are not really caught up in emotions. Of course they're not. It's not their rent. It's not the fact that they won't be able to pay because they're not working, because they've dedicated themselves to a dream that's no longer even possible because of the way that organisations want to structure the league system. And Riot's abandoned the path to LCS. LS also talks about the amount of money for comparable teams in Korea and Europe. But no, there's not the same support to get promoted because the orgs from Riot have never really been sensitised being good at that level, and have never really made it worthwhile getting good because they've inflated the pay structure, and they've inflated lots of other things as well. And the finances are only a problem because of what Riot and the orgs have done, which has basically failed the players. LS talked about the different salaries in Europe as well, and it's worth pointing out the UK average annual salary is around 31k. In US, it's around 97k, and obviously part of the difference is the number of people at the top of the food chain because of the differences between the two nations. But if we go to MIT, which is a university in the US, the living wage in the US is about $24 per hour, whilst in the UK it's £10.90 per hour outside London. So that sort of tells you what the difference is supposed to be. It's literally fucking double, more than double. So in other words, Ellis is talking utter shit because he doesn't really understand that these regions have different amounts of money. Like there's different requirements for living, and just because they're equal regions doesn't mean that they have the same amount of money. And so his argument doesn't really work from the start. And it's also because of the different ways in which obviously the money is valued. Allegedly, players are being blackmailed. People like Alice, allegedly players are being blackmailed by the orgs to play. So I think it's really interesting that people like LS are still choosing to support the orgs over the players because they think that profits and investors are important. Sure, you need a sustainable league, but the main issue that's going on here is not like, oh, the league's failing. It's the immediate loss of jobs for players, right? In my opinion, I genuinely think Riot should have forced the orgs to stay in NACL for 2024. But start merging it with the collegiate leagues and the qualifying tournaments, streaming it on the main channel, the main LCS channel, as a prelude to the main games, maybe. Or maybe even for a combined tourney with the LLA and CBLOL Academy Leagues to create something like the ERLs, or what they do in Asia, where they occasionally have like the Chinese, Korean Academy teams playing and streaming teams playing against like the top Japanese and VCS and PCS Academy teams. But this isn't what the LCSPA is doing anyway. They're trying to protect jobs, not the league, in immediacy, which makes sense because it's all about the jobs in the first place. So long story short, I'll support them. It's an absolute win that they've delayed the league for now, and I guess we'll see what happens from here. And if people come out with outrageous takes again, I will probably talk about them. And I will probably link the videos down below, just to show that I'm not taking them fully out of context. But yeah, they're talking out their asses. See ya.